Yo, what up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another Grizz 901, your live post-game show right here at Bluff City Media. I'm Daniel, and we're going to be joined not by Nate tonight. He's actually off with a little bit of work duties. Yes, we do have real jobs other than this, but Nate's out tonight. So we brought in one of the Bucks, Uncle Buck. So Drew Graham will be here with us very shortly, and I promise you, I was blown away, and I know you all are. We're going to cover this and so much more with the final 8-ish minutes. Like, I think the game was tied roughly with 8 minutes to go, and then what happened with a 19-point win by it was a 21-point win. I got to carry my extra one there, but a 21-point win there by the Oklahoma City Thunder just showed really who they are as a team and how they're firing on all cylinders, but also they have all their bullets in the chamber right now, and the Grizzlies just do not. We're going to talk a little bit about John Morant, Desmond Bain, stinker tonight, Scottie Pippen, another good game out of him. But there will be no Grizz Trivia tonight and really no look ahead. We want to make sure we get the game and just talk throughout the entire game just overall because, honestly, it's March Madness. I got better things to do. I know you do too. But thank you all for joining us. If you're watching over on YouTube, we appreciate you. This is where the magic happens. But if you're watching over on Twitter, join us over on YouTube at Bluff City Media. Go ahead and like, subscribe if you don't mind over here at the YouTube page. We would very much appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and get the show started. Yes, there you go. What up, Uncle Buckman? How are you?
I'm good. Hey, this is a full weekend. Listen, it's not all bad for me, okay? I got 2 teams in the Sweet 16, and I got a ranked baseball team to cheer for, but, you know, I'd much rather the Grizzlies, entertain me. I thought most of the game was entertaining. Ended poorly.
In all honesty, I watched majority of the game. I didn't miss very much at all until the last 8 minutes. The Grizzlies tie it. Yeah. My kid is whatever. She's getting older, and she threw me for a loop, and she wanted me to lay down with her, and I forgot my phone. No craziness about it. Got my phone, and oh my God, we're literally down. And so I'm trying to figure out what happened. And so I go back and try to watch the last 3 or 4 minutes of it, and then I'm trying to catch up, trying to speed watch a little bit of it. And then I look up and the game's over. It went by just like that. And so I'm not going to be the best at the last 8 minutes of the game. I have a lot of thoughts earlier on, but we're going to get your thoughts. So kind of off the top rope, Drew, what happened there in the last 8 minutes?
Well, I mean, it was just a delayed version of what's happened every other time we played them. We had a bad quarter, and the avalanche happened. They let the Grizzlies, and I say let the Grizzlies because let's be honest, Desmond Bain was 1 for 12 today and John Morant didn't play. They let the Grizzlies stay in the game for a long time. Yeah. And then they just put the clamps down and they forced Vince Williams to take shots and they just let Desmond Bain keep shooting. And it just went to pot really quickly. I can't remember the other Oklahoma City games vividly, but I do know that I believe in one of them we had a horrible second quarter, and another one we had a horrible third quarter, and this time we had a horrible fourth quarter. So maybe if we play them in the playoffs, we've pushed it to we would suck in overtime. I don't know, but I was really encouraged. I even said on our show, we pre-recorded yesterday, it came out today. I said on our show, listen, this is about feeling good going into the playoffs at this point. I don't care about necessarily we have to get to this seed anymore because I don't really like our matchups against anyone. It's all about confidence. And I felt like a loss against Oklahoma City, you could leave with some confidence. And, you played 42 minutes of really solid basketball. Yeah. And you had a lot to be happy about, especially if you were 2 players in particular. And, and then it just got away from you. I mean, Oklahoma City does what great teams do. And when it comes nut cutting time, they cut the water off and they execute it on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah. And that's kind of what it breaks down to is you look at, all the comments that are coming through. One, I appreciate it because it does help me kind of get through a little bit. But as Kenny was saying, I think this is Pennington. I think this is the best thing I've seen so far. This is why OKC is 61-12. The defense. I went back and watched a little bit of it, and all I kept seeing is the active hands and how active they were. But in all honesty, they were sagging off a little bit more, and they're more in the passing lanes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where they kind of turned it up. And honestly, they probably weren't trying very hard. I'm just going to be honest. The Grizzlies look fine. Nate actually texted during the show, and he said, "I just looked at the score. How are we even close?" And Desmond Bane has not scored yet, and it was past halftime. And so I believe he didn't score his first 3 points until 5 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the third quarter. So we'll talk about Desmond Bane just overall. But looking at Lauren's, hear this comment. Look ahead. I'm not going to look anymore.
Yeah, the schedule's daunting. Listen, I know that there's just anytime we lose, especially when we go on we are the victims of a big run and an ugly end of the game. It's just fuel to the fire of the folks that I feel like are just not happy to be watching Grizzlies games anyways. I thoroughly enjoyed 3.5 quarters of that game. It was scrappy. And then Oklahoma City just cut the water off. I mean, and that's just all I can say. I mean, I know the Grizzlies at one point they were either about to take the lead or they had just taken the lead, and the Grizzlies come down with a possession that late in the shot clock, Vince Williams has to shoot a corner three. We get the offensive rebounds, and Jalen Wells has no one to throw it to because they got Dort face guarding Bane, and they're helping off on Jaren, and you force another Vince Williams contested floater, and it was just okay, what are we supposed to do there? That was just incredible defense by Oklahoma City. And I believe I saw in the comments a minute ago, 5 of the last 7 possessions for the Grizzlies ended in a turnover.
Sheesh.
They just cut the water off.
Yeah. And that's what it comes down to is when you're loose with the ball and then a team that is very good defensively turns it up. That's where it comes off to. But listen, I want to talk about this. I want to get your thoughts because I've seen a lot of this. And Kevin, man, I am not. I am going to try it.
Go Tro.
Because the Tro has to be there. And go GAU, go Tro. Yeah, Kevin, go Tro. Look at you. Maybe because you have a little bit of the Ole Miss LSU connection, the Mississippi there, a little Biloxi down there in the Bayou. I'll be in the Bayou in a couple weeks. I can't wait. But Kevin Goodrow, he says Jenkins has zero feel for fourth quarter. So tonight, a little bit of a coaching malpractice.
You're never going to catch me saying that the main problem is the head coach when your star player doesn't play for the 6th straight game and your third best player goes 1 of 12. I'm just not. I know that everybody's going to throw the stats at me that Jaren, I think the game was ultimately lost when Jaren took his fourth quarter break. But let's be honest, he was the only player that was playing. There was no help around him. Scottie Pippen was really good, but I don't know what he played 8. He was out of the game for a minute and 45 seconds, and Oklahoma City extended the lead from 5 to 12 or something like that.
Wow.
I don't know what to say other than Desmond Bane, who makes $35 million this year. He gets paid $414,000 a game. Went 1 for 12. I mean, and John Morant just doesn't play. I'm never going to be the guy. The coach should always be the guy that takes the fall first. Yeah. So, if you want to fire Jenkins, that's fine. But ultimately, players play these games. And Desmond Bane went 1 for 12, and John Morant missed another game. And this is the best team in the NBA.
Right. So what I'm looking at right here, and I apologize for not looking in the camera. This is the number one rule I'm taught. You can't not look in the camera. But so he goes out in the third quarter at 6:16, and they're down by 5. Okay, and then at some point he goes back in, and this is why I enjoy this. So 4 minutes.
He went back in 4:45 or something like that.
Yeah, 4:37. He goes back in, and it's 99. So they never scored while he's out to 112. Okay, not a coach's fault. You got to sub a guy out. And so he plays the rest of the quarter, I do believe. I don't think that there's okay, so he comes back out 102. to 122. So that didn't help that much. All right.
No.
So they went on a big run there.
Yeah.
And so he sits out through the end of the quarter and comes back in. And so at that point, it's
But
ugly.
Jared
But
was great tonight.
yeah.
But like I don't know what you expect. Like, is it Jenkins' fault unless he plays Jaren 48 minutes? I mean, that's just not how it's played in the NBA. And listen, I've been called a protector of Taylor Jenkins here in the comments, and
Yeah.
trust me, if they want to pay me for that role, I'll do it, and I'll be more vigorous than what I am right now. I just feel like it's common sense. Like Desmond Bain went 1 for 12, and John Morant's not playing. Oklahoma City is the best team in the league. Jared, what was Jaren played 31 minutes?
I believe that is
I would
true.
love that number to be higher, but I also don't expect our starters to play 12 minutes in the fourth quarter every night.
Yeah. Well, if you look at it, so if in all honesty, if that's true, if he's out at 6:16 and he's back in at 4:37, that's not a lot of time. Like that he's out of that game.
And Keith, I love Keith. He's always in the comments. I look forward to. I value Keith here. It's not minutes, it's rhythm. Like this is game 60, 65. Like I don't really care about rhythm. You know, the rhythm changes because we've got a different lineup. We've got another laundry list, a CBS receipt of injured players again. Like, I don't really understand rhythm, I don't guess.
Yeah. So there was something that just happened, and I'm trying to pull it up because I see a lot of people talking about it in the chat, but it looks like the Lakers got beat by Josh Giddey buzzer
was that
beater.
the buzzer beater? I got the real app notification saying Giddey walked it off, but it didn't say who it was against. So
yeah, against the Lakers, and so I would assume everything stays put with both teams losing. The Grizzlies are still tied with the Lakers, both 17 games back, but as Grizz Company man, welcome back, buddy. I hadn't seen you in so long, but battle the bums at the Forum Saturday, no doubt. So the Grizzlies do take on the Lakers this Saturday, I do believe, and so it will be a battle of the bums, no doubt. But it will be a chance maybe Ja Morant comes back, and we're gonna talk a little bit later because I think that needs its own little spot. I don't want to discuss it too much too early, but looking at this game. I know we talked a little bit about Desmond Bain, but I want to go ahead and get into it. Desmond Bain, 3 points, just an atrocious game.
It's awful.
Why?
Listen, you've got really good perimeter defenders if you're Oklahoma City, and who else you gonna guard? Yeah. I mean, they obviously chose Desmond Bain over Scottie Pippen Jr. Scottie Pippen Jr. had a really good night. It was not only because he was poorly defended, but it was lots of hustle for Scottie Pippen Jr., lots of passing lanes, lots of getting out and running. He was incredible tonight. But you also had Lugens Dort face guarding Bain. Yeah. And then, like, he had open shots. He just didn't miss it. This is what you see out of Bain. I feel like it's almost concerning at this point is that when he doesn't have it, he wholly doesn't have it. Like, he can't get it. That is concerning to me at this point. We've seen it too many times this year that he doesn't have the high floor that you want from like a two guard that's beside a dynamic point guard star of the team. He's not a high floor guy.
Yeah.
He can really crater this year. He's shown. But I mean, it was good defense, and he just is not, for one reason or another, just able to get back on the horse, halfway through the game.
I see everybody in the comments. I try to not be negative to them on a personal level.
This is just
the dribbling, yes, that's on the court. So if you're saying Bain has short arms, I'm down with a joke. I'm cool with that. I
can't make that joke, but
yeah, I try not to put it up on the screen. So if you do say it, I am laughing internally, and I probably will mention it on the show. I just don't want to put it up on the show. So that's why, if you're wondering why we put stuff on there.
We got to keep some things secret to encourage people to come back live,
And I try not to put curse words up just because kids watch. That's why we don't cuss that much on the show. Unless it's super late night, just because we hope, you're probably not going to wake up the kids and let them hear it, even though they might listen to it the next day. But that's why I just thought I'd share that. But I don't think his arms being too short is the problem. But you look at like him being the 1A or the 1B. I don't think Dez is ever going to flourish in that role. And I think that's kind of where he's at right now with Ja out.
No, I think you've seen Desmond's ceiling, at least for now, this year, because
Yeah.
you've had to count on him a lot. You see in lots of cases where the number two guy gets paid number one money by another team that thinks he can be number one. I think you've seen this year that
Yeah.
Desmond Bain is not ready for that yet. He is CJ McCollum. He is not Damian Lillard. And
Correct.
that's no shot at Desmond Bain. And I don't think I hope nobody hears that from me. But I mean it's just true. But
Yeah.
you saw late in the game in close games, they were doing the John Morant high pick and roll with Edie, with Bain, and it was just getting deflected constantly. It doesn't have anything to do with short arms. It's just awareness. It's just
Yeah.
comfortability with the ball in your hands in clutch situations. It just wasn't pretty. And Desmond Bain has been wholly. It's unfair to him to ask him to do that. That's just what it is. Like, he will always be better, and you can say this about 24 Grizzlies players that we've seen since John Morant's come to the game. He's just better when John Morant's on the court.
Well, who is that
I know, and it
besides
seems
Zach Edey?
stupid to say, but you remember Zaire Williams is probably the best example. If John Morant's on the floor, he's catching lobs all game long. If he's not, it's like he's dribbling with his forehead.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's bring up this because Keith, who we do love on the show, and listen, I will say, I love that people still speak their mind because 100%, I will target people and go right back at you, not because I don't like you, probably because I respect you. So Keith is one of the guys who will speak his mind freely, whether you agree with me or not. That's how this show is. Like,
Right.
I
Love
want you
that.
to speak your mind, whether it's you, Drew, on the show, whether it's you in the comments. All right. So he's saying it's unfair what we're paying him. That's too much. One, I don't think it's unfair what he's making. I think what he's making is probably the second, maybe third best player. Do you think what he's making makes him a good 2 or 3, or do you think he should be 2 or 1 on a team? Just the contract. Just the contract.
Just the contract.
Just the contract.
It's so hard to say because it is. You have to think about it when it was signed. When it was signed,
Right.
you felt like there were 29 other teams that would sign him to this deal. And I'm going to say it again. Like, you expect John Morant to be playing basketball alongside
Correct.
Desmond Bain, or else Desmond Bain doesn't look like a $35 million player. And that's
Yeah.
what we're seeing right now, is that he doesn't look like a $35 million player. But I'm going to put some of that on John Morant not playing.
Yeah, I agree. And that's kind of where I stand is like if Ja plays very, very, very like an uptick because like he excels when Ja is playing in the game because he has a little bit more open shots. He doesn't have to be the guy. And in all honesty, and this is probably a little bit on Taylor Jenkins, like there's have to be some figuring out of the roster of, all right, do we go away from the point guard? And in the regular season, you can take those chances as a head coach because you have your best player on the team and you think, hey, can we do away with a backup point guard and run it with Dez and maybe Luke just to get by those 6 to 7 minutes in the first half and then maybe 2 or 3 minutes in the second half? You can that's 10 minutes a game. You can easily do away with that and try to figure that out so you don't have to play an extra player and give more guys the rhythm. The problem is it's never worked. And so eventually they had to just kind of go away from it. But then like Ja's hurt again, so you can't really find a rhythm and try things out because Ja's always been hurt. And with them only doing what they've been doing this year when he's in the game, it really hasn't been special either. And so that's really been the issue. But if you look at his season overall, he's averaging 19 points, and he's played much better since his initial bad start. If you take away his first 10 or 15 games, he's probably averaging like 21, 22 points a game. Like he's playing fine. It's just the turnovers because he's been being forced into a role because Ja's been out so much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's just not meant for this role. It's just not. And it's unfair.
The role without Ja.
Right. It's just not fair. Like when Ja's in the game, Desmond Bain is catching should be catching a lot of wide open wing threes after a job, drive and kick. That's what you should be getting a lot of design plays, not Desmond Bain bringing the ball up the court.
Yeah.
If there's one major beef I have with kind of this offense that they run and being so quick is that it doesn't really have a point guard that initiates the offense every time. And Desmond Bain doesn't know what to do when Jaren Jackson Jr. brings the ball up the court.
Yeah.
And nor should he. Like, it should be, to me, in my opinion, if the reason why Tyus Jones was so good is because he initiated the offense. He got everything set when John Morant was on the bench or when he was hurt. Now, you're not letting Scottie Pippen do that or even Luke Kennard do that. It's more like a committee. And instead of having one person making everybody better, just kind of seems like everybody just kind of gets a little worse.
Right. No doubt. And it was a tough game. And listen, I'll give all the love to the Thunder because I respect, them a lot. I think they're very good, and they're probably, if not the best team, they're definitely one of the top two. But Zach here, I always love to show a little bit of the love to the opposing fans, especially coming in there and they're kind, like always. But Thunder fan here, Memphis is tough, all capital letters. I disagree. They're going to be a force in the playoffs if healthy. I also disagree, but we do appreciate you coming by. I just don't see it, and I don't see the toughness from this team. I would not use this team and use the tough word ever. Like, I think that they are a finesse team. After losing Steven Adams and losing Dylan Brooks, you lost a lot of your grit. And because of that, you try to have that with a guy that's more of a feel, and Jalen Wells, he's hit the wall a little bit. Zach Edey doesn't have the mobility and doesn't have the umph.
He has crab claws for hands as well.
Yeah, I don't want to get on Zach Edey because I can so bad. It pisses me off still.
You're a big college football guy. This is the best analogy I've come up with how this team is playing this year. And you remember everybody loves and loved RIP Mike Leach, the wide open run and gun. Yep. They were cute, they were fun, they were high speed, and if you didn't know what you were getting into, he was going to make you sweat. And every year 100%. They were going to beat every team they should beat, and they would play close games against maybe one team they shouldn't beat. But when it came nut cutting time against teams that just had a better scheme, had better players, they looked horrible. And this team and this offense is very much they've tried and they've branded themselves with this new offense as the change of pace, cute little we're going to spread you out and run a bunch of 5-yard cuts and a death by 1,000 paper cuts kind of offense. And when you play guys like teams like Oklahoma City and the Lakers or the Warriors, like, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
You just get squashed.
Well, and that's what I've always disagreed on. And we're literally halfway through the show. Appreciate everybody watching here. I'm Daniel. That is Drew Gann here with me with the $2 Sports Show. He's live every Tuesday and Thursday at noon here on Bluff City Media Network. They're live, just kind of hanging out, just like we are live. Come hang out with them. So if it's during your lunch hour, I know Vernon is a big name, especially in this city. Dude, check.
Ain't no reason you can watch him later.
100%. But the $2 Sports Show, nobody interacts with you on the show from the other show. Love the show. I watch it a lot. But if you go to the $2 Sports Show, I promise you'll get the interaction just as you get here. It's very much the same kind of feel. I also will be on in the morning with Luke Hatmaker, the Daily Grind, 7:30 a.m. Central. Make sure you tune in. But this is Grizz 901. If you're watching here, whether it's the next day on a recorded version and you can't see the live chat, we're trying some different things out. We're trying to pull out the video and send it out a different way. And so if you, for some reason, don't see the live chat, that's you're missing out. So the live version after the weekday games and in every single playoff game, we'll make sure we're here. And if you didn't hear the news that we put on the last show, it was very much a 11:15 news cycle dump. We believe this is the last season for the show. And so listen, things happen. It hurts me even now. Me just saying that, I literally got the sweats again. I hate it. But I've talked to Kenny this week, and we're trying to figure things out. I just don't think it's going to work. In all honesty, I just don't see how there's a new deal that we can get to. I would love to be surprised, but we just have to do it for our families. There's a lot of time that we spend that I have to leave for my kids or doing something else to hop on and do the show. And we don't want to do it the disrespectful way of not putting our all into it. So we're trying to figure things out just so everybody's aware. But as of right now, we do not see a vision for the show next season. So just wanted to share that, especially during the middle of the show.
Well, I said it in the comments when you broke the news on, I guess that was Tuesday night. And I'll say it here for everybody else. You guys have the toughest job at Bluff City Media, and it's not even close, especially with kids. And I've got my own. And to be able to watch a game may make your wife angry while there's kids. And then to say, okay, baby, now I'm going to go record a show at 10 o'clock after I've watched this game for 2.5 hours. Like, I'd come in bruised. I would come in bruised. And rightfully so. So I've enjoyed it while I was here. I hope wherever you land somewhere.
No doubt. Well, I'm obviously I'm getting a big opportunity doing other stuff with the coaching company. We are live on the Stadium Network every day at 9 a.m. Central. We do sports betting. We do just sports talk stuff, but it's a live show. There's a lot of people on there. That's been a big opportunity that I received from here. Like, because I was doing this show, I was able to cut my teeth in a little bit of it, but also that's kind of where I found myself. That's the reason I'm not doing that show and I'm taking away from this show. It's just I literally it's the night stuff. Right. I literally got out of bed with my wife trying to watch the game on my phone while we're trying to watch Residence, which is effing awesome. I don't know if anybody's seen Residence yet. It's brand new on Netflix. I was like, hey, I gotta go, and so I hopped out of there and came in here. But that's why. And so nothing about Bluff City Media. Love Kenny, love the team. And who knows what will happen? Just letting everybody know that's the direction. So back on the game. I don't want to get off too far on that, but I figured we were halfway through the show. And yes, it is probably Zach Kleiman's fault. But
he could not take listen, I'm going to tell you what, if they don't fire Taylor Jenkins, and I'm a Taylor Jenkins fan as much as the next guy, if they don't fire him, I may quit because I can't take this anymore.
All right, so let's talk about this. I want to get away from this game just completely. Okay, so the Grizzlies played well for maybe 40 minutes.
Call it 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Fair. 40 minutes. Sucked the last 8. Fair. Whatever. And maybe if we're not going to be here, maybe Taylor Jenkins can start doing the post-game show. Who knows? I don't know if he's got anything else to do. But I want to go away from that. Okay. And I want to ask, is it fair or foul? All right. So fair is like, hey, that's just, and I'm just made this up. Foul as in like, no, you can't blame it on that. Okay.
It's opening day of baseball. Yeah. Fair. We know what you're talking about. We're locked in. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cardinals are 1-0.
Fair or foul. The new offense is more to blame than Taylor Jenkins.
Man, you're getting into some stuff there that I have some real questions that I need answered, because I don't know. I want to know who makes these calls. Like, who decides that Taylor Jenkins fires his whole staff, 2 months before the season starts, and they do start over with a new offense? Is that Taylor's decision, or is that Kleiman's decision? And who decides that once that, and if it was Taylor's decision, then why did Kleiman draft Zach Edey, who doesn't fit in it? And I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and I'll be consistent. You had to have buy-in from Ja. The offense could have worked, but you had to have buy-in.
Right.
And he didn't buy in. And I think that's probably fair of Ja to say that, like, I don't like this. It doesn't do what I do well. But he didn't buy in. And therefore the offense flopped and he got hurt a lot. It felt like a season where when you needed repetition to install a new offense that they may have had a conviction about, they were never able to get the consistent minutes and string of games together to actually work the kinks out and figure it out. I mean, we're through. I don't know what the Grizzlies record is right now, but we're through like, is this game 71, 72? Yeah. And John Morant still hasn't played more than 6 games in a row all season. Like, crazy. I just don't understand how you install this. You know, this isn't college football where you go through 2-a-days for 4 weeks and then you go to fall practice and all this. Like, you got a 5-day training camp, and then here you go, you're starting preseason in which your players don't play. Yeah. And then you go into a season in which your star player doesn't play more than 6 games the whole season. Like, I don't know. I don't know who to blame. The only thing I'll say is whoever you blame, there's a pie chart. That's what I've talked about on our show. There's a pie chart. And the only people that I will argue with and say you're dead wrong is to say that 100% of the blame is on any one person or one thing. Yeah. It's coaching, it's front office, it's players. There's 3 pieces of this pie. The only people that are wrong is the ones who put 100% on one of those.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you talk so long that you put Wayno to sleep. I'm kidding. Wayno's got to go back to work. Shout out to Wayno. We'll see him definitely in the morning. He's a real OG of the Daily Grind, but also the 2 Buck Sports Show.
He wakes up at 4 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays to get in the chat to watch the 2 Bucks at noon American time.
Dumb. Wayno, so dumb. You're an idiot. Just complete idiot. All right, so I get that, and I do think it's the offense, because I think if you didn't have the same offense, I think there'd be a lot of concerns about Taylor Jenkins still. So I think Taylor Jenkins has his issues no matter what.
I do, because Taylor Jenkins thing, the offense was a new complaint this year, but last year there were complaints about starter minutes and about not calling 100%. Timeouts to end runs and late game stuff. Like, that was here before this season.
Yeah. So I think his complaints have been the same, but he's been consistently like that. And so because he's consistently like that, I just accept it, like, for the most part. And yes, King Meeks, it can be a mixture of all. I get that. I'm just asking the question. Your content has to be better than just a mixture. Get out of here, King Meeks. No, but I do think that it is a mixture for sure, but I want to try to see if we can dissect it a little bit more, because I have questions about players. And so, fair or foul. I do think
that oh, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to move on. Go ahead. Finish your thoughts.
Okay. If you were running the same offense, despite Ja missing games, it would be easier to inject it back into the rotation and pick up where you left off. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so fair or foul. If we get 25 more games played out of Ja Morant, would you say it's fair or foul the Grizzlies would have a better season, even though we have everything else, such as the offense, and you have Taylor Jenkins? We would have a better season and feel better about this team, no matter the other circumstances. Fair or foul, Ja just playing more would take care of a lot of the other issues.
100%. Okay. That you hit that one at dead center field. That's how fair that is. You cannot, in the NBA, in which you've got max players that take up, I think, 30% of your salary cap. You cannot have one of those players be your star player and he doesn't play and expect to have success.
Yeah. All right. Well, fair or foul. The lack of leadership and lack of what we consider now toughness is a direct reflection on the head coach.
In part, I would say fair. Okay. I think in part because I believe that a good coach can get players to buy in and to play harder than what they may want to, because what some of us as fans, like, we choose to do this. We spend our time, we spend our discretionary income to do this. We love it. The NBA players, it is a job for them, a lot of them. But I think the great ones, they have a blend of this is a job I take seriously and I have a burning desire to be great. But some of them, it's just a job.
Yeah.
And so I do believe that's fair, because I do believe that coaches can get those players to buy in a little bit more.
Okay.
And especially with the toughness and the defensive thing that Taylor Jenkins is supposedly prides himself on.
Right.
Like the defensive effort down the back, he hasn't been able to get an effort on defense.
All right, so I disagree with that part. What I look at is I look at scheme only with players, because I don't think that on a professional level of really any sport, but definitely the NBA, there's really not much a NBA coach does other than just kind of hypes the players up, calls good ATOs out of timeouts, down the stretch makes key decisions. I think that's very important, and that's what that one is the main one that he lacks, is the feel. Like the key stuff down the stretch is the biggest one that he lacks. But it's also a lot of just keeping everybody on the same page and keeping all the drama. We do. I promise you, I know about more drama than any. I won't say any of y'all. Most of all the fans know about. Not all the fans. Okay. Most than just the casual fans that are Grizzlies fans. I know about a lot more drama than you know about. And I guarantee I don't even know half of the drama that's happening behind the scenes.
I believe that 100%.
Because of everything. Dude, these are young guys and they all have egos. There's so much that's happening. You need a head coach that can manage all of the egos. I think that's the number one thing that you can actually do as a head coach is to manage all the egos. And so I disagree, but I do agree. So I'm going to follow that up real quick. Fair or foul. This same team would be better with everything else that has happened this year with a new coach. They would be a better season, a better team with a new coach. I'm not even telling you the coach, a new coach. Fair or foul?
I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? Like, I feel like where I once was in the majority, I feel like I'm in the minority pretty vastly now. For the reasons that you just outlined, where it just seems like he may or may not have he may have lost the locker room, because his biggest asset, in my opinion, was that John, Jaren, and Dez would fight for him, like in the media, like publicly, that they had him and they had his back.
They
aren't anymore. What do you mean?
Well, okay, so what makes you say they're not fighting for him?
Oh, well, I just think that it comes down to Ja for me. I feel like he should be playing. I feel like there's been many games that he should be playing this year.
Okay, so listen, I love going down these rabbit holes because I love picking things apart. It's what I do best. I just love dissecting things and trying to figure out things because it creates good conversation. I don't ever get upset, and I don't think anybody else does.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings,
right? No, I like just dissecting stuff, and so it allows conversation. So in your opinion, like I hate the way that this team. Okay, back up. I hate the way the best player on this team acts on the bench when he's not in the games. And there's not like a 28-3 run in Utah. He looks miserable.
Right.
But then you catch him doing a dance with his head coach and everything's cool. Like, I don't understand it. Like, where's the difference? Like, is he not the guy that should be actually on the front line, getting in people's faces, helping be a coach off the court, but on the court?
100%.
Where is this at? I don't get that. That's my issue with all of this.
Well, something's obviously kind of gotten off a little cattywampus with Ja, because I mean, you remember back before he had the injury problems, that 21-22 season that everybody, or was it 22-23 that everybody just adored, the post-game interview mobs and everything. That I felt like the ringleader to all that fun and excitement and just youthful attitude and who gives a crap about anything was spearheaded by John Morant.
Yeah.
And I feel like the weirdness of this season is also spearheaded by John Morant.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I blame it on Taylor Jenkins, but I do know that something has to change, and you're not changing John Morant. And so if you look at what Cleveland did, you remember Cleveland after last season's exit in the playoffs, Jared Allen wanted out, Donovan Mitchell wanted out, everybody wanted out, nobody was happy. The only thing that actually ended up happening is they just changed their head coach.
Right.
And JB Bickerstaff is a good coach. I believe that Taylor Jenkins is a good coach. I've never mistaken either of them to be great or elite, but they're good at what they do.
Right.
And maybe they're both just developmental coaches, and you just got to get another voice in here.
Yeah.
Voices go stale at some point. It just happens.
I agree. And a very, very real illustration with me. I've been at the same company. I'm still the same company. And no, I don't sell used vacuum cleaners. Even though King Meeks thinks that's what I do.
He plays bass in a Pink Floyd cover band.
I actually, have you seen does anybody remember the old rainbow vacuum cleaners? The one that you put water in the bottom and then maybe I sell rainbow vacuum cleaners on the side.
I may hate you because I have one.
I used to have one.
We fell for that one. Yeah.
I don't even know where I was going with this, but when I look at this team, I see a lack of leadership, and that's where all this comes back to is, and I don't know who to blame, and it's probably everybody.
Yes,
but you can't have your number one dude. And I'm always going to point the fingers at the head dudes, and I will not stray away from looking at the players because they're the main ones that make this go. You can win in spite of a coach. That is the number one thing. Can you win with a good coach? Can a coach help you win games? Yes, I think that's the difference. This team could win in spite of Taylor Jenkins. This team has won more games because of Taylor Jenkins. I just think that they're not syncing up, and for whatever reason, it's just not working. So my thing is, I don't understand the directions and the decisions that happen in the offseason. Okay, let's get past that. Okay, I think Zach Kleiman's done a decent job, but I don't think he's not traded well. He needs a hostage negotiator to hire during the offseason to try to figure out how to do trades because he's terrible at it. But then, if you get past that, there's been no offseason moves, and his first round picks have sucked.
Yeah,
plain and simple.
Listen, I'm a fellow short man like Zach Kleiman, and sometimes I feel like when I get in a room with people, like everybody just looks over my head, and that's a short person. That's why when you're short, you have two options: you either try to be funny, or you're like Nick Saban and you just hate everybody. You have to scream the loudest.
Yeah.
I choose to be funny, or try to be funny. Zach Kleiman feels like every time he goes into a room, he's pulling at the tail of somebody's coat. Like, hey, listen to me. I'm down here. Just listen to me for a minute. But he never can get it done. He's always talking about it, but for some reason, the other parties just never want to play ball, or he prizes his possessions too much, which I think is the problem.
I agree.
Zach Kleiman has done an incredible job at building a team for a small market team as a startup, grassroots kind of. You got extremely lucky with getting the number 2 pick in 2019 and getting John Morant. Like that, you have to have some luck. But the rest of it, he's filled this team with successful draft picks. Every one of them, every good GM has misses. Just happens to be that all of our misses are in the second round or in the first round. But getting it to the next level, and if you want to make the parallels between Taylor Jenkins being a good coach and you need to go up, like Zach Kleiman has to figure out how to take that next jump. And that next jump is to be able to make a big trade, to be able to get some veteran players. And it's going to have to be through trades because, let's be honest, like free agents don't really want to come here. No. And especially, you thought Ja would be a draw, but I don't know if I'm in the twilight of my career wanting to have one good run at it. I want to hitch my horses to that wagon either.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I do respect for Kleiman for not making bad decisions that puts the franchise at risk, because that's right. And I see so many of the names and so many of the big name people that is all these other, bigger market, and they make the swings, and you could be in the position such as the Suns
Yeah, the
and
Phoenix can
have
afford to do that.
like it just sucks. Like I would not enjoy being a fan of that type of a
Right.
franchise because honestly, it's either like, hey, we're really awesome, or man, we suck and we have no direction to go
Right.
now. Like that's the part that's bad. But I do have a question though. This is very important. Looks like Zach Kleiman's 6'1". Does he stare and look over you?
Oh yeah, if he's 6'1". Listen, your boy's 5'6" in boots, okay? It's I know me and Rusty look like the same height when we're standing screen by screen.
Right.
Not the case in real life.
Yeah. All right. Well, I do have a real question, and we've been going so long on this. I might end the show with some Grizz trivia just off the top of my head because I'm just curious. Some King Meeks Grizz trivia. But this is fair. But Furious Styles has a question or is making a statement. Ja took a lot of losses with the Supermax sabotage that he kind of did to himself, right? The 25-game suspension and then the $1 million burglary. Okay, first of all, I get the $1 million burglary. Like that hurts you on the inside. The money wise, probably not a big deal.
The
And he has
security, I can
insurance.
understand how it's security. It hurts.
Messes with your mind mental wise.
Mhm.
The money part of it, I don't know if that matters as much, but I don't want to write off $1 million. The guy's making tons, whatever. But I get the mental side of it. Are we being fair to Ja when we criticize him for not being available? That's nothing to do with his play on the court because I've been very critical of that as well. I try to stay away from off the court issues because I don't want to attack people as humans. I try to keep them as players only and respect them as players. And I think we all do a good job. We don't want to get too personal. But are we being fair to him because maybe his mental stuff that he's going through is a direct correlation of this?
Well, I mean, let's just start from the top, I guess. Supermax sabotage, that was because of the double incidents in which you flashed a gun. That's you got the 25-game suspension because of that. And I mean, yeah, that's on him. You can think that and I totally think he thinks this is that the league was unfair to punish him to the extent in which they did. But the fact of the matter is like you did it and then you did it again, sorry, and with the, that's the same thing I tell my kids, like I've told you once, I'm not going to tell you again kind of thing.
Right.
And then with the burglary, like it's already been addressed, like I can understand how that messes with your psyche, but I'd have a hard time thinking that that's 100% what it is that is the reason for this season. I think it has more to do with missing games because of injury. You look and see what other superstars are doing around the league, like Joel Embiid and like LeBron James and like all these guys who just kind of coast through the regular season. And I think that's kind of what he feels like he needs to do.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I just think it's fair to blame him or to criticize him because this is a business for him as well. And the NBA has a very bad problem with players sitting and resting and not playing games and faking injuries to sit out and all this. And it'd all just be corrected if you played basketball. That's what we pay you to do. And if all of this is legitimate injuries, then I apologize.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like you want to look at him as a player, and it's so tough to because I think there's more going on, but you have to be fair because there's a lot of weird things happening. And so I don't want to I don't want to steer away from him because I do think it's deserving in some areas. Like he's very much self-sabotage himself in many ways. He is still 25 years old. He's still getting back on track and trying to find things out.
Right.
This is a weird season. I don't get it. I don't understand what is actually happening with him. But I do hope that we see him get right personally. I could care less about if he never plays another minute for the Grizzlies. If he gets himself right, so be it. We'll figure things out.
Yeah, he seems unhappy.
Yeah.
And I believe a lot of this could be squashed if it just seemed like, in my opinion, this is just Drew Gann speaking, like there was never any accountability taken. It just seems like his mindset is that it's the league against me instead of like the league office against me instead of, that team tonight that I need to beat.
Yep. No doubt. I agree. Well, we'll see. We'll get into a lot more. I do have something I want to bring up here is Bobby Howard, who, I love Bobby, who does a lot of stuff for the Oklahoma Sooners. I believe Bobby does do some content for the OKC Thunder. I don't know if it's part of it's called Schooner Pod. Schooners, yeah, I think whatever, something like that. Schooner Pod is what I believe it's called.
Yeah.
But Bobby is awesome. He has a group that does stuff over there. It's basically surrounding the Oklahoma City. The Oklahoma. Who are they? The
Sooners.
Sooners. Sorry, I got between the Thunder, whatever. Bobby, if you're still in here, if you have some OKC stuff, I'd love to hear it because I'd love to hear the OKC side. But if you don't have your stuff, maybe let the fans know where they can hear the other side of it and maybe what they think people outside of Memphis thinks about the Grizzlies just from this one game. I think it'd be important. So shout out to Bobby for coming and hanging out as always. But yeah, this is Grizz 901 as always. We go live immediately after the games during the weekdays and having a lot of fun here with Drew Gann of the $2 Sports Show live every Tuesday, Thursday at noon here at Bluff City Media. All right. We talked a lot about the game. I don't want to spend too much more time on it, but I do want to put a nice bow on this. And so simply, I'm going to ask, do you think Ja comes back in the regular season?
I mean, this team loves to ramp people up when they've been on the bench for a long time. So probably, again, I how hurt are you? We haven't heard.
Right.
They say actually Taylor Jenkins said day to day today.
After
he's been out for, I think this was his 6th or 7th game out in which he had 3 different injuries and no explanations, So he said day to day. So yeah, it makes me think that he could be back against the Celtics, maybe the Heat. But I mean, you're on a murderer's row here. And if the front office and the coaching staff does care about seeding, like you got to upset either Golden State, Los Angeles, or Boston, or you're looking dead in the eyes of the play-in.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody's kind of the same way. He will come back at some point. I don't think it's Saturday night. I would be shocked, but I think that they're going to have to figure out some wins. A tough little stretch here,
it's a brutal stretch. I mean, Oklahoma City, Golden State, Los Angeles, and Boston, in maybe not that order, and then you end the game before the final game is against Denver, and you would like to not need that one, because you're at the one-off in Denver. So
it's rough. All right. Enough about the game tonight. I do have a little bit, so why not? Let's have a little King Meeks Grizz Trivia. All right, I got a very important question. I was going to try to do this a little bit earlier and put the graphics up, so I do apologize. There are no graphics, but I do have a question. Okay. Figured you would enjoy this. This is King Meeks Trivia, brought to you by Dodge's Chicken. Maybe on Winchester. We don't even know. But Ja, Jaren, and Bane.
Okay.
They have played a total of 30 games this season. What is their record?
It's so bad. We've played 71. We've played less than half of the games in a season. You've been missing either Ja, Jaren, or Desmond, or all. That's awful. I don't think the record is as good as one might think, is my initial inclination. I'm going to say 30 games, you said? 31?
30 even.
30. I'm going to say 17 and 13.
All right, chat. Let me know what you think because he is not right. And so I'm curious what everybody else thinks. 30 games, Art, 30 games. And so I'm curious. Art's got 18 and 12. Art is not right. Lauren, 17 and 13, not right. Austin, very close. Austin's the closest one so far, 30 and 0. I'm joking. I'm joking.
I was about to say, wow.
15 and 15
Everybody's
is not
kind of
correct.
in the ballpark that I was at, though. It wasn't like 23 and 7, was it?
No. So I will say that they started off very hot. And I believe it was like 10 and 2 at the very beginning.
Right.
And it slowed down very much. Somebody did get it right already, but it slowed down tremendously. And it became they were playing 500. And literally I was going through it and I was looking and it was win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. And it was just starting to just add up. But we did have somebody get it right. And so I'll go ahead and nobody else has got it since that. So Lauren, 19 and 11 within the 30 games. It's been crazy that it isn't better than that. And I thought when I was looking it up, I thought it was going to be much better than that just because you know how they
it's because that's what you think they
well.
should be. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So no, it's not as bad as most might think, but 1911 still isn't great. It's realistically, it's the same thing that they've been doing with or without those three. So, yeah. Anyway, so that is our Grizz trivia. So I thought we'd have a little bit of fun with it. But let's go ahead and look ahead real quick to the Lakers game, and we'll kind of end it there because we do have a Monday, Tuesday, and I believe those two games are the Celtics, and then once you play the Celtics, Celtics, and then you have the Warriors.
Okay, then the Heat. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been getting these games all backwards, out of order.
You just probably need to go to sleep.
Probably.
Yeah, so the Warriors, and then the Thursday TNT game against the Heat. I'm guessing that's still a TNT game. And then it's at Heat, at Pistons, at Hornets. Anyway, Lakers, Saturday night. The Grizzlies need it. How in the world do they figure it out?
A massive game by Jaren Jackson Jr. There's no one in the post that can stop him. You know, their biggest guy is Luka, probably just girth. That's the favorite word of Grizz 901. And we know Luka is not capable of playing defense. So hopefully you can get matched up with a lot of minutes with Rui Hachimura or something like that. The team is not going to win many games without Ja. But the games they do win, it's going to have to be Jaren. And then it's going to have to be a pretty much stellar effort from everybody else.
Yeah.
You saw what Jaren had a good game tonight. I think he shot 50% from the field. He shot over 50% from three, I think. And he had 27, 30 points, something like that. It wasn't enough because Dez went 1 for 12. You can't have Dez go 1 for 12.
Yeah. Well,
this team is beat. The Lakers, I think, can be beat right now because they are squarely in the playoffs, which is the only thing they care about. They're not thinking about seeding or matchups or anything like that. They've got LeBron James and Luka Doncic. They're going to walk into any series confidently. So just go and try to steal one.
So no Rui. He's not back still. Jackson Hayes is their center at the moment. They just signed Jordan Goodwin, which doesn't scare me. They let go of Cam Reddish, which I thought Cam Reddish was going to be so much better.
It was always character with him, though, wasn't it? Even at Duke, he quit on that Duke team.
Right. Yeah. I don't think he played his the last game in the tournament because he was hurt.
AWOL. Yeah.
Yeah. But tonight, Austin Reeves went off for 30. Luka went off for 25, 10, and 8. Jackson Hayes 19 and 8, which is shocking. LeBron 17, 5 rebounds, 12 assists. Dorian Finney-Smith, dude, he's not good. I'm glad we did not pay him.
Dodged a bullet.
Yeah, but the rest of their team sucks. Like I don't like Dalton Connect 0 points tonight, 12 minutes. He's just not getting the minutes. He has not played well lately. And so who knows? But King Meeks thinks Rui will figure out a way to be back for Memphis because that's what he does.
Of course, why wouldn't he?
Yeah. I just don't. I see the Grizzlies. I see a path to victory just in general. This isn't politics. This isn't CNN, but I see a path to victory for the Grizzlies somehow, some way. Duke, you're wondering about them quitting. Well, they're up right now, 62-47 over Arizona. Can't be done with this fast enough to go enjoy another dub for my Dukies. But
I've got them winning it all.
Hey, me too. Me too.
My wife was leading at the turn here in our $2/Bluff City Media bracket challenge.
Yeah.
She took an L. She picked Arizona.
Oh yeah, get out of here. But I think that they have a chance to win. Do you think the Grizzlies can figure out a way to win Saturday night?
Yes, I do. I do think. And listen, at this point, like I've said, you've got to find a way to go into the playoffs confidently. I'm sorry, but a 3-game winning streak against Miami, Charlotte, and Detroit isn't going to do it. Like you've got to knock off one of these teams. You've got to find a way to convince yourself that you can compete.
Yeah, I agree. And my thing is, I just want to see effort. I could care less if we lose. I just want to see somebody get pissed off, push another guy, preferably on the other team, punch somebody in the mouth if we need to. I don't care. I just want to see our dudes have a care factor. Yeah. That's where I want. And at the end of the day, I don't care who has to bring that. But if you know your team needs a little bit, somebody's got to figure it out.
You look in the mirror and you say, I see pride. I see power. I see a bad. Ain't gonna take no crap off nobody. I see pride.
When you talked about looking in the mirror, the first thing I thought of was the Little Giants, and he's in his he's got his mouthpiece in or whatever. He's like,
the Little Giants. They had a run. I mean, just great movies. Mean Green, Little Giants.
Because they're OG, they're originals.
Yeah.
So anyway. All right. Well, that's all the show we got to have tonight. I did not expect us to go this long, but I was having fun dissecting a little bit. But I hope Ja figures out a way to come back because we need him. I hope somebody steps up because we need it. Something's got to happen.
When's the Lakers game? Is it Saturday?
Saturday at 7:00.
Okay.
So we'll see. But yes, nice guys do finish last. So I'd like to see a little bit of some nastiness with these Grizzlies because that ain't it.
That's what we had.
Goon, that's a spot on. I love that, Goon. All right.
Stop to lead us.
Everybody have a good night. Thank you, Lauren. It has been a fun post-game show, but not a fun ending to that game. Yeah. The Grizzlies do lose 125-104, but we'll see everybody Monday and Tuesday night. We'll not see you Saturday night, but we'll be watching the game as everybody else is, as always. But make sure you tune in the morning, 7:30 Central, if you're awake, which you should be. Go ahead and wake up. Check out the Daily Grind. I'll be on there with Luke. We're going to break down the game. I'll have a chance to maybe dissect a little bit more, think about it, a little bit more of what's going on, and then let Luke be Luke. Luke is crazy, so why not let him just go off for it? So it's going to be a fun night or a fun morning. So make sure you tune in if you can. But that's all we got. Thank you, Drew, for coming and hanging out with us. Yes, we'll hopefully get back Nate on Monday and Tuesday night. But we'll see you all then. Be nice and tell your friends.